Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Leaders in Light 2.0. I am Gaurav Sharma, your host and Chief People Officer here at Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages. I'm particularly excited about today's guest, someone who had the immense pleasure of working alongside and who continues to inspire us with all her resilience and leadership. Shalini Ratwatte, our General Counsel at HCCB. Growing up in this beautiful country of Sri Lanka, Shalini's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and dedication. She has navigated through the world of law, leadership, breaking barriers and setting benchmarks. Today, she's here to share with us not just the challenges she's faced, but also the invaluable lessons she's learned along the way. Whether it's battling cancer while maintaining her professional commitments or advocating for change within our industry, Shalini's story is one of courage and determination. So let's get right into a conversation from Shalini. Please join me in welcoming Shalini Ratwatte, our General Counsel, a true pillar of community here at HCCB. Hi Shalini, welcome to Leaders Under Light 2.0.
Thank you for having me, Gaurav.
Can you take us back to your childhood growing up in Sri Lanka? What were some of the influences that shaped your perspectives and interests?
So I grew up with a family of very empowered women. They were all professionals, starting from my mom, my aunts, my older cousins, even my grand aunts actually, were either doctors or lawyers or, mostly in the medical field though. So I had a very strong female influence, a strong independent women's influence from a very young age.
Very interesting. And how has this experience and, this upbringing been a pivotal point for you to look at a career in law and advocacy?
So I think being a professional woman and having a qualification was kind of in our DNA, right? Like I said, most of my family members are doctors or in the medical field. I was always naughty. I was always outgoing and adventurous. So law was the easiest. Medical took a lot of time, medicine took a lot of time. So I think for me, law was just a very easy way out of getting a qualification. Also doing the things I love because I'm very creative. I love to write. I love to read. So that kind of fitted in well with the law side.
So you mentioned sports,
Mm-hmm.
writing, reading, and naughty.
You've seen a little bit of that, Gaurav.
Very interesting team. So we are getting to decode our General Counsel Shalini. Very interesting. Thanks. Moving on. As a woman in leadership, how have you dealt with the glass ceiling that we see in many organizations? And what strategies have you put in place to foster gender equality in your workplace?
So honestly, I have never felt a glass ceiling. I have never felt discriminated. I've always felt I had incredible opportunity. Okay. That said, something I really like to foster and encourage and make sure we embed in policies is equal pay for women. Now, that's not something I have seen. Yeah. I think what I would want any listener or a young female leader to think about would be never to curtail yourself, never to hold back. Always believe that you are equal. I think if you believe that, that kind of automatically happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe I have been lucky, but honestly, throughout my 30 plus years in the corporate world, I have never felt discriminated as a woman.
That's an amazing insight. And we will talk a bit about that in terms of what message you want to pass to our women leaders so that many years from now, they will also sit here and say how they have overcome it, right? Thank you for sharing. And, building on the same part, which is about your career, you mentioned, you made several bold moves, including moving from financial services to environmental law and even working as a swimming instructor. So can you help us decode these changes and how have they enriched you in your professional life?
So for me, family always comes first. So one of the key deciding factors to change or move or pivot from what I'm doing has always been based on where my family is at the time, or say my husband, gets posted somewhere and we think that's a great move for the whole family. So I've moved based on also the circumstances around me. Yeah. Career has never been a first thing for me or a priority. I always say, and I think you remember when I joined, a daughter to my parents first, a wife to my husband, a mother to my children, and then came my career.
Right.
So particularly when the children were growing up, I always tailored my career and opportunities based on what was best for them and what experiences they were going to have from the decisions we made.
Sure.
So that's kind of what really shaped my early life. And then whatever I did after they went to uni was really when I took on the more serious jobs and the more demanding jobs.
And if we can ask, what do your kids do now?
So our daughter is an actuary. She's just about to finish her final certification exam. Our son is a rugby player and a lawyer.
Wow. Also a lawyer in the family and a rugby player. So I guess where he gets that from. Sporty as well as...
My husband also played rugby for Sri Lanka. So yeah, from probably the two of us.
Thanks for sharing this with us. So we're getting to know more about you. Interesting. And I've heard that early on in your career, you were offered to head the legal department in a large corporation, which you refused. So can you help us decode what was going through your mind and what are the factors most important for you in choosing your roles?
So building on from what I said earlier, right? Family first in that instance. So kids always came first. And at the time I got that opportunity, it was actually to start an in-house legal team and to lead them in a very, very demanding industry and work culture. Mm-hmm. Kids were little. Kids were around 5 probably at the time, yes. And 5 and 6. And I felt that I was not ready to miss one of their birthdays or, be with them if they were sick or, just do the basic stuff. I've always worked. I've always had a career, but I've always taken jobs that would give me the flexibility to be with the kids. And I have to say I had incredible bosses throughout my life. And even here at HCCB, where they have been very understanding of the circumstances, whatever they were, that I was in at the time.
Very clear. Thanks for clarifying. So delving deeper into you as a professional and as a person, thank you for sharing and coming openly about your journey through cancer. Can you walk us through what were the life experiences you went through and what were you thinking? What were your priorities? How did you manage your professional and personal life during treatment?
So I was 48 when, very fit at the time, height of my career, height of actually my health and fitness as well. Suddenly cancer has this whole thing about, you're going to die. So the first thing is you got to have to face, okay, I might die. Sooner than we all know we're going to die, but then sooner than I ever thought, right? So it's a shock. You've got to kind of embrace it and then deal with it, yeah? So, I was very fortunate. I have an incredible family, a huge family network. Like I said earlier, doctors, people who, knew what to do, how to do, because that's something also that most people don't know.
Yeah.
Who to go to. I would say having an international insurance coverage was huge at that time. So something I always urge people is don't even disregard getting your personal insurance.
Sure.
Yeah. And a bit of advice would be just get it before you're 50. Okay. So I had that. You also have to immediately think of letting go, how so lots of mixed feelings, lots of strong emotions. But then again, you've got to decide, are you going to fight this or are you going to give in to it? So I decided to fight it and just, take the cancer on.
Kudos for fighting it and, being here and telling that story with a smile. I know we are smiling about it, but it's a difficult period for everybody to go through. Now, what are some of the life lessons you can share with our audience, and especially the women out there who may be going through a similar journey? What could you share with them from your own experiences?
So, I would say just, when anyone gets sick, right, you have all these cliche things. Stay strong, believe in yourself, be positive, yes. Right? But honestly, those are not cliche, hackneyed things. You've got to be that if you're going to fight it. First of all, I would say, understand the illness, understand the condition. What I really learned was that, when you haven't really had cancer, you think that everybody who has cancer goes through the same thing. But it's not so. Each cancer is different, each type of cancer, and how each person, depending on their body, reacts to it differently. So I think that's the first thing to understand is what is the cancer you've got, at what level are you stage 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, what is the medicine available, because again, this preconceived notion of cancer is that you're going to die, but actually, yes, you're going to die, but how do you combat it? There's so much medicine available, it has advanced, the availability of good drugs is so much more, and the success rate of combating this illness is so much better than what we really know.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my first guidance. Understand what you've got. And then what do you need to do to deal with it? Either deal with it, combat it, what is the percentage of success of recovery, all of that. So if you understand that and you focus on that, right, half the battle is won.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing is you tend to kind of go down the rabbit hole of why me, why did this happen to me, what have I done? And you can get yourself in a very dark place. So you've got to have people, and I talked about family and friends because they never let me go there.
Very good.
They really made sure that I stay engaged. My employers too. I was with Microsoft at the time, and I have to call them out for being just fantastic employers. I decided to work throughout the illness and treatment. I had 6 months of chemo. They basically moved. I had to move countries, so I lived in Singapore for the 6 months. My office was in my home. I was on every call. My boss said she will step into me for all of my external engagements. So I think when you have that kind of support network, and also you have something else to focus on, besides, I'm going to die, my children, my husband, you can go down that. So you don't let yourself go down that path. Yeah. So if you can manage that, then I think, it's not half as bad as...
Correct.
It's bad, I have to say, but it's not, you can manage it.
And I think, thanks for sharing. If I were to summarize, team, the lesson that I'm drawing from Shalini's experience, 1, understand what you're going through. 2, then decide how to deal with it. And 3rd, very importantly, have a strong network of people who will pull you out of those occasional going down the rabbit hole or those occasional moments of self-doubt. So thanks for articulating that clearly to us. So the lessons which you shared from your life journey are very clear. Now we're trying to understand you as a professional, and let's talk a bit about you being outspoken about issues that you strongly believe in. How have you promoted awareness about things that you advocate in your own organization?
So first of all, with my profession and the role I play, legal and compliance, it's quite black and white, right? So those things are easy to implement, let's say. Yeah. But I think it's the broader thing about, say, voice for women or, diversity and inclusion, disability, that kind of thing. I think depending on which country you're in and the culture is, also your business and industry, right? And as you know, I have moved many industries. So particularly, say, if I look at manufacturing and being here at SCCB, I would say you've got to really know your business, right? And how these particular points you want to drive or changes you want to drive can be done in that current landscape.
Yeah.
And then you want to also know what's going on in the rest of the world, best practices, and then kind of demonstrate in a tangible way. Because theory, people don't always digest very well. So you've got to bring in those stories, and when you do storytelling, I would say storytelling would be the way you want to drive your message. And then, of course, persistence and perseverance in making sure it gets done.
So thanks. And again, I'm drawing some themes from here, which is, of course, 1, understand your business. 2, share in storytelling or bring the outside world in and then tell it through a story, right? So people can understand how is it relevant, because theory is good for books, but you can't apply it directly. So when you bring the business connect, you're able to bring that application. So thanks for that clear connection. Excellent. Moving from advocacy into awareness and how do you remain relevant? You have multiple years of experience across different sectors. How do you stay relevant? And how do you bring the new ways of thinking in the ever-changing corporate world?
I think, first of all, again, you say cliche of growth mindset, but honestly, unless you're humble and willing to learn, right, you cannot stay relevant. And if you can't move that, because you won't move with the times, right? You don't want to say I'm 55, but I am 55 years old. And I'm a proud 55 because I think I have been able to be open to learning so much from people much younger than I, right? So at Microsoft, I was surrounded by very young people. And in the subsidiary that I sat out of, I was the oldest. But I loved that energy. So I would say, in that sense, for me, age is a number because I can relate. So being relevant also is your ability to relate to various age groups that also bring in the various trends and the changes and the way the business and the corporate world is moving, right? So I think that agility, flexibility is key to being relevant. The other thing, of course, of remaining relevant is that you've got to be knowledgeable. You've got to be current in your knowledge. Today, I can't say, well, I'm not okay to, move with the technological advances. I have to be okay. I have to know what is data privacy. I have to know what is cybersecurity. I mean, when I started law, you would catch a criminal physically. Today, you're catching a criminal. They can be sitting anywhere in the world, right? So if you can't adapt, then you can't remain relevant. So I think for me, that has been one of the key reasons why I have remained and been able to move from industry to industry or, from country to country. Because I've learned from my children, I've learned my current team, they're all millennials, some even younger. And I'm happy to learn from them. I'm always willing to listen to their perspectives. So I think that has helped me. And I would say, I would urge everyone who is around my age to keep that open mindset.
Thanks, Shalini. And I'll just go back to what you said initially, which is being humble and willing to learn. I think that's the starting point to build on being relevant. Thanks for sharing. And now, changing gears and moving on to your function. Mm-hmm. As a Sri Lankan lawyer who has worked in markets outside Sri Lanka, how do you handle the nuances of different legal systems and particularly, in our case, Indian law?
That's a good one and something everybody asks me all the time. But when you talk of corporate law, right, all of the countries I have been in have been at one time or the other colonized by the British. So the British law kind of is embedded in the system, right? So if you know your legal fundamentals, I think this is applicable not just to law, but to anything. If you know your fundamentals and you're very strong on that, right? Then whether you're in Nepal or Bangladesh or India or Sri Lanka, honestly, it doesn't matter because the advice you're giving most of the time is based on that. If it, moves into property or anything else or, labor law, again, is pretty fundamental across geographies with a few nuances here and there. But that is why I have a team. I rely on my team. If I'm in any doubt, I will rely on some external counsel. But I think in order to advise, say the SLT, to advise you, for example, I think, you have what it takes if you're strong on your fundamentals. And you are able to then, if you're strong there, you can make the decisions that are required, like business-savvy decisions. Yeah? It kind of empowers you if you have the confidence that you know your stuff on those very basic things.
And it dovetails with what you were saying earlier, that know your business, know what's happening in the world, and have strong fundamentals. When these three things come together, you can do excellent advocacy.
Absolutely. I think anything you can be good at in anything if you are strong on those.
Okay, coming towards our own organization, closer home, what would you say makes HCCB a great place to work?
Firstly, I would say the people, coming as a foreigner to this country and to HCCB last May, I'm just a year here, I have never felt like I am an outsider. It's such a welcoming culture. You have a big role to play in that too. I've always felt included. So I would say the people, for sure. I would say that inclusiveness, and also I think what really excites me is because I come from a tech background, the innovation and the technology advances that we're trying to bring into the business. I find that very exciting. And I think we are exploring a completely unexplored territory for the organization, and I think as well as for India. So I think in that respect, it's super exciting to be here during this time. I think the organization itself is in a transformational stage, which again I love. I think that's where you can also create an impact. You can really make a difference. You can drive some of those things you asked me earlier about certain points I want to make sure that I included in policy, in the way we do, in the ways of working.
Yeah.
So I think it also gives me an opportunity to bring in my own learnings. It brings me an opportunity to bring in, the outside in perspective, having, been in other countries and learned how other industries do things. So I think I think as an organization, if my call out would be that this is it's such an exciting place to be at this point of time.
So, and it is an exciting place, and your contributions are very clear, not just at the functional level as the General Counsel, but also at an enterprise level as we try and create a great place to work, becoming the best. Thinking about your legacy, what would you want to leave behind as terms of legacy, or what people believe in for people who look up to you and they see you as a role model?
So when I came here, and everyone was wondering, why is she here? When any new person comes, right? We wonder, why her? Why is she here? But I said to my team, I'm here to make you become the best version of yourselves. So my legacy would be to really see my team blossom, to build them, to take my place during the time I'm here. So that would be my immediate legacy. And also to feel that I have impacted their lives positively, right? But role model, I'm not sure if I'm a role model, but I think what I would love if anyone can take away from me is human connection is very important. So always stay humble, always stay open-minded, accepting, empathetic. If I've been able to impress upon people the importance of that, I think that will be my legacy.
Thank you, Shalini. It's been a very interesting conversation, delving deeper into your childhood, into your motivators, you as a professional, choices that you've made, how do you look at advocacy, and finally, how do you look at leaving a legacy behind? Now we are through with the larger part of the conversation. Now we're getting into this favorite part, which is called rapid fire. So I'm gonna
scared?
No guns here. So we're gonna shoot some questions, and you have to answer with the first thought that comes to your mind. You good to go?
Yes.
All right, there we go. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Favorite book or movie?
Can I say both?
Okay, one each.
Book would be the Bhagavad Gita, my all-time favorite. Movie, Lion King, by far. I would have watched it 200 times.
Wow. Alone or with kids?
With the kids alone, it's just one of my best ever movies. I love Disney. Anyway.
Interesting. All right. One thing you can't live without?
Sleep. I'll tell you why. Sleep is like a cliche. Again, sleep is like a thing you think, oh, that's obvious. But about me, I can stand and sleep. I love to sleep anytime, anywhere.
Okay. How many hours of sleep you get every day?
Wish I had more, honestly. But whenever I can grab a nap or two, so I'm good.
Interesting.
Recharge my batteries.
Good. Dream vacation?
Anywhere in the jungle, anywhere in the wilderness.
And
as extreme wildlife as possible.
Any place you remember where you went which was the best?
Well, the most recent was in Bandhavgarh and Kanha just about a month ago.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.
Best piece of advice you've received?
Life is short.
Mm-hmm. Innovate or optimize?
Innovate.
Favorite tech gadget?
My iPhone. iPhone is correct. Not gadget. But then I'm old, Let me just stay old there.
Okay,
Tell me another gadget.
Let me build on that. Favorite app? Don't say WhatsApp.
Can I? Okay. No.
Yeah.
Swiggy Minis.
All right. Okay, that's good. Favorite company beverage?
I would say Coke Zero.
Fantastic. And here we have. So, Thanks a lot, Shalini. That brings us to the end of Rapid Fire. You've done a great job. So, team, you've heard about Shalini, her motivators, how she looks at advocacy, legacy mindset, and what she likes to do in her free time, and her favorite tech gadget or app for that matter. So, thanks, Shalini, for spending time with us. It's been a very good conversation.
Thank you.